This is from Satsuma, and she asked, let's see, where's her question? Okay, she said, many people think that if Katniss did not go into the games, she would have eventually married Gale, and Peeta would have settled for some sensible merchant girl. Do you agree? Or were Gale and Katniss never suited for a romantic relationship? More importantly, would Katniss have been able to overcome her stated fear/aversion of marriage and kids with Gale? What do you guys think?
You know, we actually had a similar discussion about this recently in the Mockingjay.net forums, where this guy was saying that he just didn't understand at all why Katniss ended up with Peeta. And, he said that it just made no sense logically, and we were trying to tell him, there's no, real logic when it comes to love, and it's just about what she needed. And I think I said that I don't think that they would have lasted anyway. I think they would have fought a lot. He would have been focused on the war effort. He would hardly have been home, and eventually they would have split apart, and she probably would have actually gotten close with Peeta.
So what timeline is this following? Is this Prim's name never got drawn, or Prim's name got drawn and Katniss didn't volunteer?
I think because she said if Katniss didn't go into the games, I think we can just assume that it's if Prim's name had just never been drawn, because to me, if her name had been drawn, Katniss would always have volunteered. So I think we can just assume that this is if Prim had never been drawn.
I guess, Peeta's name would have still been drawn, and assuming it follows a similar path, or, if Peeta was a victor and exhibited the same kinds of sensibilities that he did in his games with Katniss by being, not wanting to be a piece in their games and being just kind of the sweet, lovable Peeta he is, I think maybe Katniss would have fallen for him by watching him on the games, maybe, if he survived. And I don't know if he would have. It's just sad.
I just had some flickering, by the way. Just letting everybody know. Hopefully
my light flickered.
Caesar Flickerman, what?
Wait, yours flickered too, Natalie?
Yeah,
mine just did it again.
Mine just did.
It's like the same grid. I think we're all on the same power grid.
That'd be a huge grid.
Wow. Well, there was a huge brownout in 2003, and it was entire Manhattan, so I think we are all connected in some way.
I remember here back then.
That was awesome.
We're like the District 12 fence. The power comes on off at any time. No, someone was going to say something? Sorry.
It was me. I was just saying I'm inclined to agree. I don't think that Katniss and Gale would have ended up marrying. I don't know.
I'm still hung up.
What?
Sorry. Go ahead, Savanna. Finish your.
Oh, I was just. I don't necessarily have a good mapped out defense of this argument. I just don't think that it would have happened. I just think they would have remained friends. As far as Katniss having kids, my instinctual response is to say that I don't think that she would have, because she is so I don't know. She's very attached to her beliefs, but it's possible that she might have. If she did get, I don't know. There's a lot of different factors that could have come into play. Courtney, sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, we know that she said she never wanted to have kids, obviously, because of the, the whole Hunger Games thing, assuming that, that was still going to happen. I'm still hung up on, the morning of the reaping, she clearly states out that, there's been nothing romantic between her and Gale, which I've always kind of thought I've always thought that their relationship in the books was, due to, just, sexual tension because, they're best friends and, that tends to happen. So, it's possible that they could have, tried going for it for a while, and I agree that it probably wouldn't have worked out just because they are so similar, and they probably, would have fought a lot and all that. I think that's probably most likely what would have gone down.
I could see it happening. At first I thought definitely not. Then I thought that if it were in the situation of Gale loving Katniss, which I think is there, then he could convince her. Just say that we're companions, we want to be together and help our families, and in order for us to do that, I want us to be married, and I could see her simply agreeing with him just so she could keep his friendship. But I don't necessarily see it as a romantic thing.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. But
I think that is plausible.
Yeah, like you said, Savanna, there's like a lot of factors. But I just took from her saying that there's nothing romantic between them, her not wanting kids, and like the whole pressure of the society that they're living in.
I'm going to play a little bit devil's advocate here. I'm going to dress up as the devil's advocate for Halloween and approach this question. I don't know why I said that. No, but I actually do. That sound. I actually do think that there was something more between Gale and Katniss. I really do. I'm not saying that it was even close to what she had with Peeta, but I don't think it's impossible. If Gale had never been thrust into a situation where, things happened the way they did, they might have just grown up together, years and years of hunting, and it was just so familiar. And, when they did have that kiss, Katniss did kind of kiss him in the woods, and she did throw herself in front of the whip when he was being beaten, and there was definitely an attachment there. So I'm not saying it was going to be steamy romance, but I think it's possible that they could have, eventually, had a more substantial relationship. And I think her not having kids, this is just my take, was based more on the fact that they're stuck living in this world where you wouldn't want a child to be born into this catastrophe of a life. And I think maybe if there was a revolution and the world had changed, she might have rethought that even with Gale, and maybe not only with Peeta. So this coming from a Team Peeta person to the nth degree, but I feel like Gale, there was still something. I don't know.
I completely agree. I'm a Team Gale person, so I'm a little biased, but no, I completely agree that there's a different sort of attraction or loyalty, and like the stuff you cited about like her going in front of the whip and all of that. I think it's all about like circumstances and like, yeah, if she hadn't ended up in the games, like, well, who's to say that she and Peeta would ever really have interacted?
And also, by the way, Katniss could have said, I'm never having kids, but, if she was in a relationship with Gale, there might have been one by accident. You never know how that could go. So.
Although she and Gale were united in their anti-kid stance, I think, and Peeta did want kids so badly that, as we learned in like the epilogue, he convinced her. So it could just be that, in that alternate universe where she and Gale were together, there were no little Everdeen Hawthorns.
I don't know if they have any morning after pills in District 12 or anything like that, what they have around there. But anyway.
Yeah, they probably have. Yeah, anyway.
Sorry, we don't have to go that direction. Someone was going to say something.
Oh, it was me. I had
I'm sorry.
things on my. I had things I wanted to say, but they're starting to slip away. Regarding like the anti-kid stance and Gale sort of feeling the same way. That's why, like, I do think that maybe, I think it was Ariel who suggested, like, possibly Gale convincing her to get married just so it would benefit, their families. I could see that happening just because if she really does not want to have children, like a marriage with someone else, with anyone else, like, just probably would not work. But Gale would be someone who she could marry and be happy with, and he would agree with her on that. But the other thing I was going to say is I think that, like, regarding her feelings towards Gale, I think that she did feel sort of an attraction to him, but I almost think that it was Peeta that sort of awakened her to that, just because she was so closed off just to the whole idea of romance. But it seemed like, after her experiences with Peeta, she sort of was awakened to the possibility of Gale, I guess. Does that make sense? Does anyone else feel the same way?
I think that's a good point.
I can see that.
Because, she probably wouldn't have opened up that much just because if nothing had changed. Also,
like, I don't even think it was, I don't even think it was, like, in her head. You know what I mean? Like that. Anyway, I'm rambling. Anyone else have any final thoughts?
No, it makes sense. That was a good question, though. I like that.